It is November 24th, 2020. We're here on the rooftop of the house located at 5324 Bloch Street in San Diego, California, 92122. We're going to do a sewer camera inspection here. We're on the rooftop. It's a two-story home, and we're right here in the back corner of the house, which is basically above the master bathroom. So we've got our 2-inch ABS vent here. We'll see if this goes straight down or has some turns on it, whether we can access. Here's a turn right here. Here's a little T-branch picking up some more of the lavatory and other fixtures in the bathroom. See, we're actually running horizontally here across the ceiling essentially, so we didn't go all the way down 2 stories. Just a little bit of buildup in the line, but it's negligible. House is occupied, so water's being used all the time, so we're checking to make sure we don't see any standing water, which we obviously don't. We're coming down here, down this vertical pipe here now, and we're going to be making a transition into the horizontal line. So we're now in the horizontal sewer main. It is all ABS plastic, and here we have a T-junction. So after this master bathroom upstairs, there is a hall bathroom upstairs, and then there is another downstairs bathroom, which is right off the wall separating the garage, and that's a full bathroom there as well. So this T-junction right here might be picking up the downstairs hall bath, or it could also be part of the T-junction that's also picking up the upstairs hall bath. But that is another T-junction for the main sewer right there. So again, this is all plastic ABS pipe. Here's another little T-junction right here up in the upper left. You can see some little string or cloth hanging off the left-hand side. That might be picking up the upstairs hall bath. Here, T-junction right here. We do have the laundry in the garage as well. Another T-junction right here. So everything looks good because we, again, have all plastic pipes. We're not finding any sags or bellies, no foreign object or debris. We typically won't find tons of scale or buildup in the line. Being plastic, it sheds it and kind of runs out down the system. We haven't encountered any areas that are holding water, which would be due to improper slope. So everything's looking really good on the system here. Okay, here we have another T-junction in the upper left. That could be our clean out. Getting close at 60 feet here. There is a clean out right in front of the garage door, and we will move down to ground level eventually to show that, but I'm going to continue down the line here. Coupling and a T-junction here. This could be the clean out that's in the driveway actually. See that little chunk of debris. We opened up the lid when we first got here. We didn't go down that line yet, but here we have a little turn on the line. A coupling right here. Hard to see if the top of that pipe opens up for an original property line clean out or if it's just a turn on the line right here. Okay, that was probably the original. Now here we go. We're now in a Greenbelt PVC pipe. So what you're seeing right here is a transition to a new, different plastic pipe that the city contractor put in. And in the driveway, off the sidewalk, got some debris in our lens. We'll wash this off in a second. There is basically a new clean out that was installed, and they put in this new Greenbelt PVC pipe. And so from there, they then relined everything out in the street because the street's not tore up. So we'll show that when we move down to ground level. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is just pause the video. We're going to go ahead and run some water, and we're going to take a second camera and go from the other roof vents to show the other 2 bathroom junctions, and we'll attempt the kitchen as well. Okay, so we ran some water through the upstairs bathroom, so you can see this clear water that's running through the system and somewhat settling. So we just wanted to show this before we pull back out. So again, there's the ABS plastic ending, and here's the Greenbelt PVC pipe beginning here for the line, and then that's going to be the reline section. So the camera's still a little fogged up. Again, we'll show this in more clarity when we move down to ground level. So now we're going to move over to the next vent system on the roof. Okay, so here's our second camera. You're looking at our camera machine there in the corner of the house where it's still in the line. So we move over off across the rooftop here. We have another 2-inch vent. So again, this is going to pick up, should be the downstairs hall or downstairs bathroom. There's only one bathroom downstairs. A lot of cobwebs in the line right here, and the turns on the line, again, we got through the first time, and we'll see if we can get through all of them. It's never a guarantee when you're going through the roof like this. So trying to see, okay, this one goes nowhere. Okay, so you can see, I'm trying to figure out what was happening here. We're actually in the ceiling of the unit. So something was redone here for some reason. I mean, possibly when the house was constructed, we don't know. So this vent goes actually nowhere. Now, this is the only 2-inch vent on this side, and that's supposed to be the size for the toilet. All the other vents around me are all 1.5 inches. So something got messed up a little bit, but as you can see, as we go into this and turn, we're looking at the ceiling, a piece of wood, an old vent pipe there of some steel material. And so basically this simply needs to be capped on this vent because rainwater can get in there as well as other pests. So that needs to be capped simply. So we're going to pull back out of this here. So we'll show you here. So this is this 2-inch on this side of the house. It goes nowhere. Then we have this other 1.5 inches to the right. So there's the chimney. So we have one vent there, 1.5 inches. This 2-inch, and another 1.5 inches to the left. So of these 3 in a row, it's the one in the middle closest to the overhang. And as we back around, see there's another one really close in proximity. It's also 1.5 inches, and then another 1.5 inches there. So what we'll do is we're going to go down this other 1.5 inch vent we see over here to see if this leads into the junction. Now, we're not overly concerned about if we can't get into here because we've already seen the main all the way across from the master bathroom, and the master bathroom is essentially the very beginning of the main sewer. Okay, here's a 90, and again, these are 1.5 inch pipes, and the 90s that are utilized are obviously tighter on 1.5 inch, enough that it prevents the cameras from getting through. So we could not get through that second 90 there. We're going to go ahead and pause for a second while we clean up and move to the next vent. Okay, so we couldn't get down that vent, the second one we tried. Here's the original 2-inch. It needs to be capped. That goes nowhere, just into the ceiling of the roof below, in the attic space. This right here is the third vent closest to the overhang. Now, we do know from walking the perimeter of the house that right below where we're at ground level, there is an 1.5 inch ABS cleanout. Yeah, I don't think we're going to make these 1.5 inch 90s. Yeah, that's the problem with these 1.5 inch pipes. You just can't get through these very tight 90s that are utilized. But anyway, at the ground level below where we're at, there is an 1.5 inch ABS cleanout, which is essentially behind the lavatory sink and somewhat the laundry, since they are close to the shared wall, that ground level. It's in the stucco and it's buried, so the stucco would have to be kind of notched out. So they probably have never had to use it, which means they don't have any issues with the line over here that we can't get down for the few feet before it ties into where other cameras at. But there is a clean out at ground level that can eventually one day be accessed if there ever was any kind of issue. But again, since we started there and the line travels over to here, we know there was only a few feet of pipe we're missing on the vertical / horizontal that we can't see from there. So we will try these other vents really quick, and then we do have another 2-inch on the other side. So we're going to pause here. Okay, there's the 3 vents we've tried. Here's our 4th one that's also, though, unfortunately 1.5 inch. We don't know if we're going to get through this. Looks like we're coming up on a 90. Oh, nope, this one goes nowhere. So this one also was abandoned for some reason from the initial layout or redo at some point. So you can see this is just going into the attic space, ceiling, whatever. You can see just the wood and other debris. So this is another vent that needs to be properly capped so that rainwater and debris and bugs don't get into there. So this one and the one straight ahead of it, the 2-inch, that needs to be capped. We have a 3rd attempt here, or I'm sorry, 4th attempt on this 1.5 inch on this side of the roof pitch. Go down this 1.5 inch here. Let's see if this leads down straight or has some turns eventually, which we expect it would, being on the 2nd floor. Okay, here's some turns here. We're still moving though. It looked like it was slow sweeping turn. There we go. We are actually into part of the drain line here. A little bit of debris in our camera lens, so not getting a perfectly crystal clear view. Do have some hard turns right there and another turn coming up, so I don't think we can push past all of these. We can't, unfortunately. But you can see some water right there that drained through the system from what we ran. So that's come down and across. So again, no objects in the line. Everything drained out clean. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pause and pull out of this vent here. Okay, so here we are on this portion of the roof before the other side. So we're going to show we have one small vent there, and we have this 2-inch vent right here. So we're going to go ahead and see if this one goes anywhere and if we can actually access from this side. We do have the kitchen. It's all the way in the far back right corner of the house, and we will attempt to get the camera through there as well. So it looks like we're dumping into part of the main sewer right here, but this also has kind of a hard turn right here with the T-junction that was used. Let me pull out our camera here really quickly. Just going to try to clean off the lens. Here's a turn with the T-junction. We go across and there's another T-junction. We are going down at a pretty steep angle, about 22.5 degrees, half of a 45. And then they got this opening right here. It's called a sanitary T. So these T-junctions are kind of going straight in. They don't have much of a curve to them. So that really prohibits a camera from trying to get into the line and making the turn that it needs to make. Okay, we got through there. Don't know if we'll be able to continue or not, but you can see it is open. Now the front of the camera has a spring to it, so it's very flexible, but behind that's the stiff push rod, so it can't travel down there. So we can see that the line is open. Again, that's what we're mostly checking for right now, since we know that the main sewer that we did get across is completely open from that point. So we're going to pause and now try this next vent. Okay, here's this small 1.5 inch vent, so we're just going to make sure it's connected, otherwise it needs to be capped. That's a 45 turn there. Another 45 so lets us get through. If we come up to the 90s, it's just not going to be capable of pushing beyond the system here. Okay, here's the 90 dumping into the system. So Here's a 90 right here where this horizontal line is going to connect and dump into the system. So again, we can't make these hard 90s like this, but we've just traveled across the line, which was part of what the other 2-inch one we just left from. So we know that the line is open, everything is draining out and clear, and no objects in the line. So we're now going to move to the last vent on the rooftop, which is the kitchen. Okay, so we're here on the rooftop across on this side of the house. Here is the kitchen vent. Now, the kitchen originally had a clean out outside it, but they've utilized that clean out as another junction for an outside kitchen sink that they've added for the outdoors. So it's not accessible now. So we don't always try to go through the kitchen because it's plastic. We'll check. Again, this may have some 90s on it, so we may not be able to get through the system anyway, but we're going to try anyway. Okay, looks like we've got a 90 here already. Yeah, so we've got 190. That's another horizontal line, and there's going to be a second 90 off of that. So we can't check that out. Obviously, they've had the home inspection. The line is all plastic, but we just can't inspect it because the clean-out's been abandoned. You'd have to cut those pipes out to access that, and we can't use the roof vent because of the 2 series of 90s on this small 1.5-inch pipe from this roof vent. So we know it's functional, obviously, but we can't check to make sure that the slope is correct and there's not some excess buildup in there. If it's obviously working, it's okay, and just like any fixture over time, it might need to be snaked or hydrojetted. And at that time, if it ever does need to be, the kitchen sink that was added outdoors that ties into that clean out should be redone with a removable band so that it can be detached easily and not have to be glued and cut again. But for now, it's not a big issue. So we're now going to go ahead and move down to ground level, and we'll go ahead and show the main sewer from where we left off with the very first camera. Okay, so we're here in the driveway in the garage. We're just scanning across. So if you look all the way back where the green bushes are in the middle of the picture, and the vehicle parked there, right in the middle of that on the concrete ground is the concrete steel lid, that we pulled up for the clean out that was installed by the city. And as we show right here next to this corner of the garage, here's the original clean out for the house. So this is the ABS plastic pipe. We're going to see our other push rod right here as soon as we make the turn. There's our orange-red push rod from the very first camera that we showed, how it went all the way across into the Greenbelt PVC. So we'll now continue down the rest of the line past the point we'll be coming up on here shortly to show the rest of the work that the city contractor did. So here's this turn. Let's just see. Yeah, that is an original property line clean out, just was never brought to surface. There's an opening and turn at the pipe right there. And again, not needed. So it goes down vertically and then retransitions to horizontal. So right here where the city did their work, they got the slope a little bit off. You can see that there's some standing water here, but it's very, very small. There's no debris caught on it, so we know it's functioning. It's right before the heavy vertical turn, so not an issue whatsoever. So right here is the reline pipe. So this is a cloth-like material that is inserted with a hydraulic balloon bag, and then an epoxy resin goes in over and coats the line, creates a second pipe. It's a little less than around 1/8 of an inch in diameter, so it doesn't change much of the inside portion, but it coats it. So basically now the clay pipe that was here is now coated, because clay pipe is really susceptible to root intrusions, and so this kind of covers that and prevents those from getting back in the line. And then you can see right there the numbers and letters on the bigger pipe for that relining method that was in the middle of the street. So you can see the water running by. That's all the neighboring houses and properties draining. This is the end of this house's lateral sewer line right here where it then tees in. So everything's been relined. So now the clay is essentially now also a plastic relined pipe. And then we have plastic ABS through the entire house with no issues. So the only main thing we couldn't look at was the kitchen line. But again, we're not overly concerned about that because they do have an eventual clean out access if it needs to be snaked or looked at. But they don't have it opened up, so they're probably not having issues either. So everything looks good on the system right here. And so that concludes the recording for this property.